of Hockey, presented by Innova Blood Donor Services. Take a crash course in momentum, courtesy of the Caps' favorite professors.
Professor Lou here, and welcome to my laboratory. Today's lesson, momentum. A moving player carries momentum, one of the most important quantities in physics. Momentum is the amount and direction of motion an object has. It's the product of mass and velocity of an object. For example, a semi-truck moving at high speed is chock full of momentum. It took a heck of a lot of time and force to get that truck up to speed, and it'll take an equal amount of time and force in the opposite direction to bring it to a halt. The lighter or slower the truck, the less momentum it would have. I think of momentum as the conserved quantity of moving. A conserved quantity can pass from person to person, but can't be created or destroyed, just like money. Momentum is the currency of going places. Thus, a hockey player has to obtain his momentum from something. In hockey, it's usually the ice. And they carry it with them until they give it to something else, such as the boards, another player, or back to the ice during a stop. Since momentum has a direction, forward momentum is very different from backward momentum. That's part of why it's so challenging to reverse directions quickly. The player has to get rid of all his forward momentum and then accumulate backward momentum. Momentum transfers dominate collisions between players. When a massive, fast-moving player collides with a smaller, motionless player, the momentum transfer is fast and the consequence is dramatic. It's like a hammer hitting a nail. The little guys can typically pick up speed and generally change their velocities faster than the big guys. But hulking players like John Erskine carry more momentum in a given velocity and pack a bigger wallop as a result. Let's check in at Kettler Capital's Iceplex so Professor Brower can keep the ball rolling on this lesson in momentum.
Thanks, Professor Lou. I like to generate speed and momentum to try and hit someone as hard as I can to try and get the fans into it. Now let's see what my teammates have to feel about differences in momentum on the ice.
You look at the players that are really the good players. They get off quick and they get off, especially for the smaller guys, they get off quick and the big guys transfer down on them, so they got to get off pretty quick. So it's important. I mean, it's the first few steps are everything.
The faster you go, the more force you have, and so obviously, you're going to make a bigger impact on them and bigger hit for the fans, I guess.
Momentum goes in the same direction as an object's velocity. This means momentum is described by magnitude and direction. So the more mass or velocity an object has, the more momentum it has. Back to you, Professor Lou.
There you have it. There's a lot that goes into the motion and momentum of players on ice. Size, speed, and direction all have impacts on the game of hockey. That's it for this week of Forces of Hockey. Study hard, and I'll see you next time on CRL.